Number 45. This number will forever be etched in the mind of Joycelyn Lynch. That is because on May 3rd, 2021, her husband, Ivan Lynch, became the 45th person in Barbados to die as a result of COVID-19. What is it like to watch helplessly as your loved one struggles for his last breath? Joycelyn Lynch recalls.
It started on Sunday, the 2nd of May, the night time, when the doctor, Dr. Hassel, came to me and told me, well, there's nothing more they could do for my husband, and it's any time now. So it's only, he will continue on the ventilator until he takes his last breath. And I says, I thanked them for what they had done and everything. And I said, well, it's only a matter of time that he'll be out of his suffering. And I couldn't sleep that Sunday, and I couldn't sleep the Monday at all. So when it was time for him to go, they came to my bed and told me, well, the light is turning red, that to come. And I went and I saw when he took his last breath, light went red, flatlined. I cried, I hollered and I cried. And then I started to sing. And then from there, I started to help the nurse take off the wires off of him and tell him to be at peace. And then they carried me back to my bed, and I watched them, and they bathed him, brought the body bags, and I waited till when the orderlies came to carry him to the morgue. I walked behind him as a dutiful wife, because you know in marriage vows it says, for better, for worse, till death do us part. And I walked behind them. And everybody, the patients that were in there said that I was real courageous. But I said no, because I had God with me. And he was my comforter and my strength. And then that was it. You know, I walked to the door, and I turned back and went back to my bed. And just cried, and a nurse came and comforted me. And up to this very day, me and that same nurse, you know, I wouldn't say we're the best, we're friends. We have a connection, because she was there for me in my comfort. Because when you're in isolation, you have nobody. You only have the nurses, the maintenance, you know, doctors. Those are your family, and you get a bond with them. But this particular nurse, Nurse Allen, Diane Allen, she was my rock up at Harrison Point.
While we're on the top of Harrison Point, tell me, what was it like being at that facility?
It was good. I felt comfortable. I felt I was taken care of. The meals was good. Sanitary-wise, excellent. If I would say one thing Mia has done good for this country, is Harrison Point. And Dr. Corey Ford and the rest of staff doing an excellent job. They're doing their best. The Cuban nurses, even though language-wise you cannot understand them, you just have to be patient with them. They look after you. They really do. And if anybody say anything negative about it, they're wrong. It is first-class treatment you have up there.
Now, we've heard all of these stories about COVID all over the world and the devastating impact it would have had. At any point in time, when you contracted the illness, or when your husband contracted the illness, did you ever really think that this would be it for you and your husband?
No. Even though we had contacted it, we went in together as a couple, husband and wife. And I didn't expect that when 11 days after being in there, I would be a widow. I went in, as I tell people, with one W, which is wife. And I came out with another W as a widow. And he died on the Monday, and I didn't get discharged not until the Friday. I still had days in there because they weren't certain of how I was, and they wanted to make sure that I was well enough, knowing my illness, my previous illness or my current illness that I have, that I would be okay and I'd be able to stand, you know, the pressures of what I have to face, you know, but they let me out on the Friday, you know, so I don't know what to say. That is the gospel truth, you know. I didn't expect that I would have been coming out alone and to face what I have to face now, but in God I trust, and I always put him in front because God knows what he was doing, and I didn't question him. He knows what is best for each and every one of us.
So how do you set about putting your life back together again after you come home, as you said, the other W as a widow?
Well, I had support from my son, my granddaughter, my family, and my aunt. And I pray every minute. I ask God to be with me. As I might not seem that I am sorrow, I am sorry, I am, but each person grieves differently. For the first couple of weeks, when at 20 to 3, I couldn't go sleep past that time because I remember. And let me go back a little. When he died the Monday, the Tuesday morning, normally he would get up and tell me when he's going along to work at 5 o'clock. He said, Joyce, I going along. I said, all right, Ivor, try and be careful and safe out there, because he was a PSV driver. And when I opened up my eyes, it was 5 o'clock. And I says, you know what? I'm going to hear that voice again. And I gave a big scream and started to cry because it just struck me that, you know what? My husband dead. You understand? And Nurse Allen was on that night. And she come in and she hugged me. And we sang a song and then we prayed. You understand? So for me to get through day by day up to today, I just have my communication, my 10 minutes, 15 minutes with the Almighty to ask him to give me strength to give me that strength to go on from day to day.
Looking back at the whole experience, is there anything that you think you could have done different or you should have done differently?
There wasn't nothing much I could have done because it came to me. I didn't carry it to any person. It was brought to me because I'm home, not going anywhere. You understand? And when I found out that we had it, I was kind of taken back because even though we went and got tested, I still had that negative mind within me and said, Lord Jesus, let it be negative, let it be negative. I don't want to go in hospital again. By being in hospital for 2 weeks, a couple of months ago, to go back again, I didn't want it. But then when I got that call, that news if you could have pricked me with a pin, you wouldn't get a drop of blood because it hit me. And my husband was at work. Because the two of us had that mindset of saying we weren't positive, you know? So I had to call him. He came back straight away, came home. And by the time he got home, I had the bags and suitcase done, packed and everything. And we were waiting for the transportation. You understand? that even when the transportation came, I couldn't even get in the bus because, as I said, I was kind of now building back up my strength with my illness. He had to help lift up me to get into the bus proper. You know, so thinking that I was the weaker vessel and he was the strong one, to see that I am here and he has gone. And it shows you, you know, you feel that you are healthy, you feel that you are strong, but you could come down in a matter of seconds, in a matter of days. You understand? So you don't judge people like that. You don't take life for granted. You know? Try and have that more positive outlook. I know if I'm bringing over myself properly, you know, but you need to don't think negative. You think positive and always remember, let God be on your side. Because as I was telling the other patients on the ward, because I was always positive, I never had a negative, because a lot of them were negative and saying how they want to die and this. Like, there was this particular lady, she said she got 11 children, she has 1 grand, and the family was in isolation too, but not, they were in the quarantine, and she had 2 other family members in ice, and she wanted to die. And I went to her and I talked to her and I told her, no. I said, listen, what you have to do, you might not go to church, but if you know the Lord's Prayer, if you know the Shepherd's Psalms, say it, you understand, and beg God to help you. You will come through, you will pull through. You understand? And if you didn't believe in God when you came through those gates, when you go back out, you can believe in God, because COVID ain't sweet. COVID is vicious. It takes away your loved ones. It takes away your friends, your brother, your sister, your cousin, everybody. But you must have that positive outlook. You know, try and fight it. I don't know if I'm bringing myself over the right way. And I don't know if that is why I overcame the COVID, because I had that positive outlook and I looked to the great physician. You understand? And he was my healer. And that is what everybody needs to do. And I can't stress no more than saying that. That's the gospel truth.
Maybe you had a message that you needed to share with the public as well.
Probably, I'm not a preacher or nothing, so, but it's just that you need that positive outlook. You understand? And with the vaccines, if it was possible I could have it, I will take it. But it is that I cannot have it. So I have to be extra careful around people. I don't go nowhere. You understand? But the vaccine can help you, because COVID is not nice. It prevents you from getting that serious, right? It prevents you, because if my husband could have had the vaccine, he probably would have been here today. You understand? But he didn't have it, because at that particular time, they were concentrating on the elderly, the over 65s, right? So you now, in this present time, from 12 to 100 and whatever could have it, take it. You need it, because it will prevent you from ending up where my husband ended up.
And how do you believe that you and your husband would have contracted COVID-19?
My husband is a PSV driver, as I said. That was his occupation. He deals with money. He deals with passengers. He dealt with passengers. Picking up and picking off. Don't matter how he had his sanitizer or anything so. He's sanitizing and the passenger not sanitizing. You could get it still. Money is the dirtiest thing. He is on a minibus 12 to 14 hours a day. You know, it's not all the time you're going to remember to sanitize, you know? And you don't know if the person, when they hand you the money, if they had coughed in their hand and hand you the money and they had COVID. You understand? So I would say the occupation he had probably gave him. You understand? And even though he was trying not to bring it home to me, because he knows the danger it was, how dangerous it was to me, we still, you know, but as you say, God had a purpose for me. I have the story to tell for a reason. You know, as I say, I was the weak vessel, but I came out the conqueror.
So how has it been then after coming back home?
Hard, very hard, because now it's only my son and myself, but my granddaughter be up here sometimes, and everything is on me now. You understand? Because everything that was his is mine. I have to look after the mortgage. I have to look after the vehicle. Well, we shared the responsibilities of the house, but now everything is on me and my son. And I'm handling, I have friends that will help me. My son has friends, you know. So we're getting by. But it's a bit up and down. But I'm trying to be contented. You know, I have to change my kind of lifestyle now. Because when you're high with two salaries coming in, now it's only one, you know. So you got to change your lifestyle and try and cut here, cut there and thing. So I'd be contented.
What was it like watching your grandfather when he was on the ventilator?
I really watched it because it would have made me cry. So I tell my grandmother that I didn't want it to be there to like see because I didn't want it to cry at that time. So I did just tell my grandma that I didn't want it to be in the room where he was like strapping and blood there coming out of his nose and stuff. And he had like stuff all around his face, so that would have made me like cry, and I didn't want it to cry at that moment.
So what about when you realized that he wasn't going to ever come home, that he wasn't going to make it? How did you feel then?
I didn't want he to come home. When we were left, I did tell my father that we did forget one thing, and I tell my father we forget he. So that it will make me feel bad that we had to leave his body there, and I know I should have stayed there. Well, I had a few moments with him, but I couldn't stay there because I didn't want it to like feel all that pain that my grandmother going through. Cause like when I came in, my grandmother was crying, and then the last thing my grandmother said that to my father that to take very much care of something that a watch that my grandfather had before he did die. So that's the only time I did get to like see something or touch something before like he did die. But I didn't want it. I didn't want it to touch you. I didn't want it to touch you on there. So because I didn't want it to like feel what it is to like have all that. Cause I was being true. I watched my grandmother, my great grandmother die. So I didn't want it to watch she die too. So I had to just walk out the door because I didn't want it to cry at that moment. And I could see how my grandmother would feel. So I did hug she and make she feel better, but she did still crying. Cause every day my father tell me that my grandmother did crying and my grandfather did get worse. But I did saw my grandfather before he did die in the front room.
When he was living.
Right, and the people had to check. He like
Vitals.
right, and he didn't realize I was there, but I said hi, and then that's when he realized it was me. But from that day, I didn't see him back when he was alive. So that is what it made me feel good that I did at least get to see him before he did die. So that was the only last and final time I did get to see him, and I did wish that I was more with he before he did die. Cause I wasn't expecting he to die.
Everybody get her at some point a bad image and a bad name and a bad reputation, right? But to be honest with you, if it didn't for COVID, it would make a nice little retreat to get away from the everyday hustle and bustle. People treat you real good, you know. For real, people treat you good at some point. They do you good, they feed you good. For real. So really and truly, I was innocent about it, so I didn't feel in no way. Me and my daughter, we understand us, and I taught she every day, like normal. So, you know, everything was cool. One thing I miss is that I can interact with people on the outside physically, right? But other than that, it wasn't a kill cow. All that happened is then when myself had to pass, you know, join because my mother was there, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, she about 5 beds away from my stepfather because he was over the other side. Right? But then she's strong, you know. Because she sitting and watching my day. They think she watch she pass and went long. So she's a strong woman. And when she talking, she there standing up crying. She there crying too. She had a tear. When they went inside, because he said, child boy, certain things that they want to talk to him about, I never get to reason with about. But as they tell you, I believe probably later on. The boy never tell you how it does be, but you might see one another again. Right? So yeah. But for the isolation thing, they get a bad name. They get a bad reputation.
It's not nice. It's painful. And it's not nice to see someone that you love. Every stage I saw my husband take, I was in one side of the room and he was on the opposite side. And I saw the suffering that he went through. And I won't wish it for nobody. But the advantage that my husband had, he had his family around him. But when you're up there, you don't have nobody. You understand? And the first time I saw my son cry is when he saw his stepfather hook up to that machine. My granddaughter saw. I didn't want her to see, but they had advised me to let her see because she would have wanted questions answered. You understand? But all I could tell you all, please, I'm begging you, I'm beseeching you all, if you all could take the vaccine, stop listening to the social media and telling you that is this, is that, is the next. Take it to save yourself, save your mother, save your father, save your sister, your child, anybody. Save it. Because you had vaccines before and we didn't question it. So why should we question it now? If I can take it, I will take it. But so far, I cannot take it. But I'm begging you all who can take it, take it.
Could the vaccine have saved Ivan Lynch's life? We'll never know. But is it really worth the risk not to take the vaccine? COVID-19 will be around for a long time. You can choose to fight it with or without the vaccine. You decide.